We're going to continue after Ed Asner leaves us. He's been very gracious to come on short notice and just spend 10 minutes with us. Of course, Ed Asner really doesn't need any introduction. He's been the head of the Screen Actors Guild, starred in more than 50 major motion pictures, and the top TV show, of course, Lou Grant as well. And he joins us. He's been in so many great films. One of my favorites was Up, a good, wholesome show that's a film that my children have watched, I don't know, I think 4 or 5 times. I love it. And he just joins us because he has a lot of courage that other people in Hollywood don't have, obviously. And last Friday, it was big national news when he had gone on the O'Reilly Factor and other shows because he'd given a statement to Hollywood Reporter saying, look, most people in Hollywood won't criticize Obama because they don't want to be called racist. And it doesn't matter what you criticize, banker bailouts, NDAA, these wars, you do it, you get called a racist. And I think that takes away from when people really are racist and need to be called racist. And I see this more and more. MSNBC has said I'm deeply racist and then didn't say why I'm deeply racist, just that I didn't support Obama. Well, I didn't support George W. Bush either, and exposed 9/11 clearly as an inside job. Along with Ed Asner and others. I mean, the truth is the truth is the truth. So I wanted to get Ed on to elaborate on, it's almost like a Red Scare, but this time you can't criticize Obama or you get I better not say blackballed, that'll be racist. You know, they can't even use brown paper bags now in Washington State because they say that's racist. I never heard of that being racist. So instead of going after real racism, they're inverting the world now and saying you support the corrupt policies of the government or you're a racist. So I wanted to get Ed's take on that. And also the 50th anniversary of the murder of JFK. I know he's one of the best stars of one of my favorite films, JFK, that Oliver Stone produced, but I wanted to get his take on 50 years later. Ed Asner, thanks for popping in, sir.
Hey, I'm always happy to be with my buddy.
You bet. Well, thank you for coming on short notice. I just wanted you to briefly give us your take and elaborate on the Hollywood Reporter story and what other stars and famous folks are telling you of why they're scared to criticize Obama.
Well, nobody has said a thing to me. And I'm not even sure what my actual quote was as to, I said, well, there probably are people who don't want to indict Obama because they don't want to criticize a black president. But the interesting thing to me with the press is that everybody posits the question, as O'Reilly did with me. He said, are people... the question, are people not criticized because he's black? They posit the question, bring me on, and then it becomes my affirmative statement that blacks are not challenged when they're the president. So they made it my question, and it's amazing to me how convoluted and untrustworthy the press can be when they follow that process.
So you're basically saying that maybe the reporter took you out of context and then O'Reilly obsessed on it. But undoubtedly, I think there is some truth to the gist of what you said because the media...
May be, but I have not talked to anyone. I don't ask anyone. It's their business. I'll let them feel whatever they need to feel. I am delighted that what's his name, Cornell West and
a lot of other folks,
Smiley, have taken his issue with Obama. And, of course, they get away with it because they're black. But they'll probably pull the same thing on them as they do on Jews who criticize Israel and call them self-hating Jews or self-hating blacks.
Yeah, that's what's sad about the Obama thing. I mean, I knew he was going to be cynical and be the same as the establishment had done before him, but I did hope it would help with race relations. And unfortunately, they put statistics out that they're really lost a lot of that because the media has been playing the race card so much.
Yeah. I think it's time that they stop it. I think it's time they grow up. And I certainly think it's time for people to ignore the inferences that the media makes on this color business.
Well, certainly.
I tried to send a response to the Chicago Defender, who attacked me as a racist for my statements, and I said, my, the Chicago Defender selling its paper by accusing me of being a racist.
And, of course, that's a famous...
When pigs fly.
Oh, when pigs fly. Well, I mean, that's a famous black paper for those that don't know.
Yeah. So how you been?
Oh, I've been doing pretty good, just watching the whole world melt down. But I tell you, there's been some good news. The entire attempt to escalate the Syrian civil war and the fact that the Pentagon and others have been running al-Qaeda, that really blew up in Obama's face. And it's good to see some peace talks starting up. What has been your take on the whole push to start not just a bombardment, but boots on the ground in Syria?
Well, I think it sucks. And naturally, I mean that creature, that diabolical creature, Vladimir Putin, is in the catbird seat. That's the first time I ever saw a vulture in the catbird seat. The ability to propose this idea, which we find is a straw to clutch at, or Obama does anyway. And man, Putin, if he wants to screw it up and make Obama look even worse, can yank it away as well.
Well, you're right. A lot of people romanticize Putin, but I mean, he's really a scary guy.
Yeah, and certainly the man who certainly in the past did his homework, and I'm sure still does it. I mean, I think his policies on homosexuals and the girl band are despicable, but I think he's cottoning to the general flow of feeling of his people.
Well, I was about to say, it's not just Putin. The media has even gone, oh, look, Russia's making America look bad. How about Russia's made the warmongers look bad? You've got 91% of Americans in a Reuters poll, Ed Asner, who are against this war. I'm kind of proud of the American people, left, right, center, libertarian, you name it, really coming together against war. I think there's a major sea change happening. What does Ed Asner say?
I would hope so. Maybe now they'll start to think about not looking so askance at the socialist ideas.
Well, the problem is, Ed, you know, anytime people try to actually help the poor, big special interests come in and scoop it up. Now, Ed, I want to ask you about getting back to the whole race thing a little bit here. Talking to folks in Hollywood, then, why do you think some of the so-called left has not been critical of Obama more outside of the race issue?
I just don't think they felt the urgent nature. Also, they expended themselves pretty well on Iraq. And, of course, that went down the toilet. A million people in the streets didn't bother George W. at all. So I think it was too early to react. They don't feel like reacting at every time a whistle was blown. So they probably were waiting to take action. And now it's been taken out of their hands. They also saw that a majority of the people were already against the action.
Now, Ed Asner, in closing, and we appreciate you popping into the broadcast today, I wanted to talk about JFK and his assassination in Dallas 50 years ago, coming up here in just a few months. And I know, of course, you starred and did a great job in the film, and that famous scene of you pistol whipping Mr. Lemon, Jack Lemmon. Give us your take 50 years later on what you really think happened with JFK.
Well, for anybody to believe the official resolution is bullshit.
Whoa. We had to beep that, Ed, but go ahead.
Go ahead and beep it. No, but JFK, the movie, showed I've read definitive pieces about the fact that it couldn't have been Oswald. The only thing that's never been explained to me is, did Oswald indeed, in fact, kill a policeman, what was his name, Tippett, in the movie theater? That's something that I don't have any answers for.
Well, for the full radio audience that didn't hear you earlier, restate it, maybe using Bravo Sierra. What is your gut level when it happened versus over the last 50 years? And now we have 90+% of Americans in polls saying they believe it was a government conspiracy. I think that shows America is awake. But Ed Asner, for the full radio audience, what is your take on JFK 50 years later?
Well, I think there were, as always, we have rogue elements in our government. People have to realize that. I feel that about 9/11. I feel rogue elements certainly did certain things there, and maybe not such rogue elements. Maybe they were more official. I think there was government complicity in 9/11. I think there was government complicity in JFK.
What is your favorite film that you've ever been in? Because I was just watching you on screen in JFK with another legend, Mr. Lemon. What are your favorite 3 films you've ever been in, and who is your favorite actor?
I love Daniel. Whether it was fictional or not, it was a very interesting take on the Rosenberg, the departure. I loved Up. I loved the fact that I was a piece of Up, and I loved Elf.
Oh yeah,
Elf to me was the bawdiest and funniest and most charming Christmas movie, I think. And I think it gets rid of the saccharine Miracle on 34th Street.
Well, I agree with you that those are great movies, but I got to say, some of the serious films you've been in and some of the stuff you did back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, so many times I'm watching Turner Classic Movies and I go, wow, I didn't know Ed Asner was in that, and it's just always really hard not to watch you, buddy, and we appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us.
I have a lovely time every time I do.
Thank you so much, Ed Asner.
Alex, continued greatness.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, there goes Ed Asner. What a living legend, what a character. And he also has that great foundation for autistic kids, so just search Ed Asner Autism and find his sites on that, and all he does for autistic children out there and exposing the vaccines. Definitely a real guy. And notice how the media distorts who Ed Asner really is versus the real guy. And I don't agree with that on everything, but I certainly think he's a good human being and a really interesting, funny, living legend. I mean, who else is on video and film pistol whipping Jack Lemmon? I mean, it's just awesome. You know what we do? You know what we do on the weekend when we let the kids watch a movie? We go find an old Jack Lemmon comedy, and that's what we watch around the house. I just love Jack Lemmon. I mean, who doesn't? Okay, most young people are like going, Jack Lemmon, who? Is that some guy in Fast and Furious or something? Okay, that's enough. You know, we got really heavy stuff going on, masses of news, Second Amendment news, your phone calls, everything.
Now you can watch the INFOWARS Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at INFOWARS.com/show.